Welcome to Building Paradise. This is a place for stories that will inspire you to reconnect with nature, foster meaningful relationships, and build your own paradise. This is Maraya Co-Living, a large house on the east coast of Tenerife, where up to 25 people at a time live and work together. It was set up by 5 friends, Luca, David, Domi, Ben, and Alex. I found them online and was immediately struck by their clean website, the pictures, and their funny promo video, which showed me that they didn't take themselves too seriously. It made me want to see the place for myself, so that's what I did. And while I was there, I was able to sit down with 2 of its co-founders to chat about how Maraya came into being. If you've always fantasized about escaping the rat race and building a new life, then stay tuned to find out how these guys did it. Maraya is a place for digital nomads and remote workers to live and work together for an extended amount of time. People usually stay for a couple of weeks up to a couple of months. The building has 9 rooms, from single rooms, double rooms to double en-suites and 1 6-bed dormitory. They also have some huts outside of the main building where their volunteers stay. When they're at full capacity, they host around 20 to 25 people, but they told me that usually it's a little bit less than that. Monday to Friday, you can find most people working in the various inside and outside office spaces. They offer free yoga sessions every morning and free breakfast. And there are also a number of community dinners every week, usually from Monday to Thursday. On top of that, they also organize various outdoor activities that people can join if and when they want. Occasionally they host bigger events where they let artists from around the island come and showcase their art. And last but definitely not least, they have a big green garden with tons of fresh fruit and veg, and if you're lucky, some baby chickens roaming around.
There was always a bigger group of friends involved that wanted to do some kind of project. It was more like this, you sit together in the evening, you talk about things, projects you could do somewhere. We all love traveling, so whenever we came back from a place that we liked, we were like, oh guys, we have to go there, we have to try it, we have to do something like a hostel or a surf camp or something like this. We needed to see, okay, who's in, who's not in, and then it was from our side these 4 guys who were in, and then our friend Luca moved here. Then just before going back to Germany, he met his now wife and mother of 2 children by now. So when they decided to found a family, it was quite clear that Luca would be staying here, probably for the rest of his life. But we always wanted to have Luca in the team, and he wanted to have us in the team. So then we were considering more to go to Tenerife. We have been visiting before the island and we really liked it, but we were still quite open to go somewhere else, maybe Asia, maybe South America. But then when Luca really settled here, we were like, okay, let's try Canary Islands, let's try Tenerife.
I came into the Maraya project because I was originally working with Luca. So Luca and I were working in the south of Tenerife together for a winter. During this winter, I fell in love with the island and we were working in a surf camp together. And during this time, over some evenings, over some beers, we started to kind of dream about maybe we could do something like this ourselves. Maybe we had all these ideas for places we could, a space that we could create. And so that was kind of how I came into the mix, because Luca then said to me, it's funny you should say this, because I've also got some friends who are also interested in a project. Maybe we should all meet together and find out if our values align and if we kind of want to do the same thing and how it could look. When I first told my friends back home, hey guys, I've found where I want to live in the world, and they were like, what, Tenerife? Like, of all the places you've been, you know, when you've been to Bali and Tahiti, and this is where you want to end up? And I was like, yeah, really, because it does have this misconception. It does have this idea that it's just for the holiday makers. It's just the big hotels where people come to like lie in the sun for 1 or 2 weeks, you know, eat and drink as much as they can, and then go back home when they're all nice and sunburnt. So it does have this reputation, and for sure there is like a part of the island that exists like this, but it is a very small part of the island. It's the tourist part of the island here. We're lucky because we're not in that part of the island. We're closer towards the north of the island. We're in an area that's a little bit more local. This area of the island for me is a little bit more like what the real Tenerife is. So, and actually since I've had friends come to visit, come to have a look at the project, come to hang out with me, and all of them have left being like, wow, I didn't realize that's what Tenerife was, and now I really understand why you live there. Because our lifestyle here, we're a lot outside because the weather allows that. So a lot of the time we're doing active things. And I think that when you get stuck sometimes in the city life somewhere, you know, socializing tends to be very much around going out, spending money, maybe drinking or eating. Here on Tenerife, socializing tends to be a little bit more about, okay, what are we going to do? Let's go hiking maybe, let's go for a surf together, or let's go do some active outdoor thing together, you know? And it just feels a lot more free and a lot more open.
Yeah, it was a very, very exciting period because we started looking for properties without having too much of an idea what's going on, obviously, because you just have to see some places and see what you get for the money that you have or don't have. So of course we were limited by money. If you have millions of euros, you can buy whatever you want on this place, on this island, I guess everywhere in the world. It was very interesting because sometimes you would see a place and then you would start planning in your head. You would have these crazy ideas. Oh, you can make this out of the place, or this, or this. And then after like maybe 2 days sleeping, you're like, actually it's not such a nice idea.
I remember there was one place we looked at in a different location on the island, and it was actually built inside a giant cave. And we thought maybe this could be cool to have the digital nomads working inside a cave. Obviously, you know, on reflection, and now having had this been open with Maraya for a year and a half, they wouldn't have wanted to be inside a cave. Like, it's a cool idea for maybe a week or two, but it's not really what they're after.
We kept on searching for the place, kept on having visits, which was crazy sometimes, but interesting also. By the time we found this property, we arrived here. We had to wait for the guy to show us the place. And we saw the garden, we saw the house, and we thought, if this is the place, then it's the place.
Then you finally find the house, and then begins the negotiation for the house. You know, obviously then budget comes into play and you have to start negotiating with the owners. And this is a very difficult process. When you spent 1 year looking and you finally found the ideal place, and then you have to start negotiating, it's really hard because you have to try to keep yourself nice and relaxed and say, okay, we need to try to play the hard game here and, you know, try to be fair and figure out what's the right thing. So that was also a tricky process.
When we got the keys, it was really a big relief because we couldn't believe it until the end, because they told us many times on the way, okay, next week we go to the notary, you get the keys. And it was always like, not this week, next week. And like this, the 5 months passed like nothing. When they finally told us, okay, next week we go to the notary, we couldn't really believe it. And then when we signed there, it was a big relief. We got the keys, we went right away to the house and made a barbecue here, and friends and family came over to see the place and explore. And from there on it was just exploring the place and seeing what's here. And then the actual planning started, because you could be on the site, think about it, and yeah. The largest challenges was placing the concrete around the pool. Because with the climate here, it was really hot. Not a lot of skilled concrete workers here. So between 10 volunteers and me, we did the concrete around the pool, which was quite a challenge. I would say afterwards was the biggest one maybe. Of course, we made so many mistakes that maybe you guys don't see, but there are so many mistakes that professionals see right away that we are still about to fix. But it's fine. Like, just to name one, when we did the tiling around the pool, it was summer, so I didn't even think of rain. And I think since I moved in, it was raining maybe one time. So I didn't think of it rain. I completely forgot. So then we opened the place in October, and then after like 1 month, it started raining. Like it does in November, December, you have the first rains coming. So then the kitchen flooded, and everybody asked me, hey, where's the drain? Where's the water going? I was like, oh, I don't know. Of course, the water needs to go somewhere. So in this case, we needed to remove it manually. And we still do until today. It's the people, the highlights and the lowlights. The highlights if you meet new people, the lowlights if they leave again and you really like them. Sometimes it gets tiring, of course, if you're staying here and people come and go and you stay. It gets tiring after some time. Right. But I think me and also the others, we learned how to handle it, to take some time off. Me, I like traveling alone, for example, and if I feel it's too much, then I go. Could be some days, could be a week or some weeks. Travel on my own, and then I feel like my batteries are recharged, and I'm happy to meet new people and greet them here.
I think that's, I would say, the biggest challenge of living in one of these communities. And I'm sure if anybody's watching this and they've been remote working for a long time and they've been moving between co-livings, this concept of a co-living burnout, you know, I think actually a guest first mentioned it to me, and it is so true. I think when you do this for a longer period of time, at some point you need to take some time out and be with yourself or be with your family and friends and just take a little bit more time to settle and to be ready to come back and do it all again. I think for us, it's about our brand image. It's about the work we do in our marketing and, for example, on our website, the storytelling that we do, and kind of through our Instagram channel. It's really interesting that since we've had the video launched on the website, we've noticed our guests change a little bit. So we've actually physically, we've witnessed in real life, through marketing, you can connect with the type of guests that you're looking to attract to your space. I think it's all about this expectation. You know, when you can say, this is who Maraya is, and this is who we are, and this is what we're going to offer you, then I think people can choose, I either like that, or that's not my flavor, I don't like that, and that's fine. And so when we first opened and we didn't have this so well established, we were a little bit more vanilla because we were new and we were trying to figure out who we were. I think we had some instances where some guests arrived maybe expecting it to be slightly different. And then we had not challenges in such a bad way, but we just realized, okay, maybe this is not so much of the clients that we want to have here. You know, we want to stay true to what Maraya is and hope that this message spreads, and then we start to attract the type of guests who are going to enjoy Maraya. What I mean by this is that guests that like to be connected to nature, they like to be a little bit more outside, living a little bit more outside, that are open to be a little bit more playful, so not so focused on talking about work all the time or being engulfed in work all the time. We're not here trying to say this is a networking event where you have to connect with people and find your next developer or find your next designer. No. You have your job, you have your work. When you come to Maraya, get that done during your working hours, and afterwards we're going to try and create a space that can help you disconnect from that. Whether it's relaxing, playing some ping pong, the dinner table together, or whatever, we want to try and organize activities that pull people a little bit out of their work mode so that they can, recover some energy, connect a little bit more to themselves, relax a little bit, and kind of come back to their work day with this renewed sort of kind of energy, this renewed source of purpose.
First of all, I've experienced the same when I've been looking for a house for myself. Now that I wanted to move out, I've been looking for a flat and I realized it's super difficult. Prices have been raising a lot. I did some research on it. Also, it's really not healthy for the local people. It has, of course, like always, many reasons why this is the case. One reason is that there are no new buildings going on after the real estate crisis they had 15, 20 years ago in Spain. So now nobody's building. Then also we have the Airbnb problem, like in all the cities, like in Barcelona also, it's coming here as well. Sometimes you could find, when you checked on Airbnb, you could find more flats on Airbnb than on the Idealista, which is like the most common website to look for long-term housing, which is really not a good trend. On the other side, you have to say that also the Canarian government tries to attract digital nomads and tries to bring people in. So it's a little bit, it's a difficult question. Where do I see Maraya in this whole problem? I think in Maraya, so the house when we bought it was empty for 5 years, and now it's, as I said, 25 people living here. So I think we make quite some good use of the space that we have. And also we try to contribute, of course, to the local community. So we give work sometimes to local people. We try to involve them into the projects we do. We invite the neighbors. And so far, I feel that all the neighbors and the locals have been really welcoming, and they really like this kind of concept that we are doing, because they also see the difference in the guests coming to a co-living compared to classic tourism, mass tourism in the south of the island, where people come for a week, don't care about the culture, about what's going on, and just stay in the hotel, spend the money. All the money goes to the tour operator and to the owner of the hotel. So people who come to a co-living a little bit more aware of what's going on. They like to experience the culture. They like to go out. They go to the restaurants here in Candelaria and in the area. They spend their money here. Maybe at some point they settle here, pay taxes here. So I hope we're contributing somehow. But of course, it's a difficult topic.
I think that people think that community is where they don't get any personal free space. They're constantly surrounded by people, and they're constantly surrounded by one particular ideology of ways things should be, of how people should act, how they should dress, how they should think. To us, it's not like that here, Like, it's also not this hippie commune where everyone's just sitting around not working and complaining about systems and, saying how we should all just live in peace and love, man, and everything's fine. There is a nice element of that in here, just because of the types of people that we are, but we still all work hard. Maraya wouldn't exist if we weren't willing to roll up our sleeves and do the hard work to create the space we wanted to. To keep the place running on a day-to-day basis, our staff work hard. Our guests who can afford to stay here or pay the money to stay here, they work hard. I think that what we're doing here is not so much turning our backs on the system and saying we don't want anything to do with that, we're part of this little community. It's about saying, hey, we're humans, maybe there's some benefit for us to spend a bit more time together, connected to each other. Maybe I can learn some things about myself, learn some things about you, and maybe I can take this knowledge with me and live a happier, healthier life. So to me, the word community, sometimes gets recognized as like, it's this hippie commune, everyone's sitting around, smoking weed, saying peace and love, when actually it's not that. For me, community is actually it's more human than that. I think actually one of the challenges we have in our world today is that we're not so connected to community. And I think that's where people sometimes feel a little bit low energy, a bit disconnected, maybe not so good in themselves, because of how important it is for us to be connected to each other. And I think that in a way, that's more what we're showing here, is that actually by being connected to other humans and learning from them and doing things together, you can have a lot more fun and often feel better in yourself. And I think a lot of people leave here and then go and maybe take better care of their communities back home, whether that's their friend groups, their family groups, or even new people, new sports, whatever. I think they go home with maybe a slightly different mindset in what community means and how important it is to them now.
If you want to see more, then make sure you subscribe and hit the bell icon, as I'll be posting more videos soon, including this walking tour that I shot at Maraya. If you want to actually stay at Maraya, I've left a link to their website in the description. Be warned that they fill up quickly, so it's best to reach out to them well ahead of time. And I also want to give a massive shout out to Emilie, who helped me make this video. Thanks for watching. See you next time.